So here in front of me, you see a pile of seeds. I've done videos like this before, looking at what I grow. Sometimes I don't end up getting it all grown, and sometimes I try and fail. But this is what we'll try to grow. There may be some other varieties that are not here that I also am going to grow. But please do comment below if in this video you see a variety that you think is really neat or that you for sure want me to do a video on, and I'll do my best to, grow it well as step one, so there's actually something to shoot a video about, but two, to then film a video, because I don't always film videos for everything that I grow. So anyhow, let's get started. You'll see here, I know a lot of times when I've done this, I've only had seed varieties from a certain company or something else. But here I think I've got kind of your basic, what you can get at a Walmart or a dollar store, the rather cheap American Seed Company seeds. And then I've got this company, Everwild Farms, which I think is also a wonderful company. And I sometimes even use some of the seed that I source for the seed giveaways. I'll sometimes get from Everwild Seed as well. And then, of course, we also have Baker Creek, which you've seen before as well. So let's go through these things. All right, the black yard long bean. Let me say that again. The black yard long bean. So this is a bean that is supposed to be a yard long. So that could be cool. I think that'd be fun and be a good thing to do a video on, but obviously we'll see, and we'll see how well I do growing. Beans have been something that historically I have not been great with, either because of pests or watering issues. I'm not sure, but I often fail with beans. So a yard long bean might be even harder to do. But at any rate, I'm excited to try the yard long bean. Brussels sprouts, I have heard, are complicated to grow. So I think it'd be fun to give them a try. I enjoy Brussels sprouts. As a kid, like a kid hearing me as an adult say that I enjoy Brussels sprouts, he'd lose his mind. Brussels sprouts were horrible. I thought they were one of the worst things on the world when I was a kid. But I think part of it is just a difference in getting older, but also preparation. Like I think Brussels sprouts have really come into being a popular item for chefs to work with, and there's a lot more fun ways to cook them that are much more widely known than perhaps they once were. So the Brussels sprout, I'm excited to grow. A homemade pickles cucumber. I'm not sure this will be different than other pickling cucumbers I've had before, but I'm gonna give it a try. Now this is one I'm very excited about. I don't really know anything about growing peanuts. I know that they're historically more of a southern crop. I'm close enough to the south. I'm not worried about growing something that's southern. I'm in the Kansas City as 6B garden. Obviously, there's a lot of things that grow in the south that wouldn't grow here, but I think I can get peanuts to grow. We'll give it a try, and I might even try growing peanuts from the store as well. So this is some Tennessee Red peanuts, and it says treated. I don't actually know what that means. I'm guessing that may be something that if you're a organic enthusiast, a treated seed might not be that. I really don't know what it means, but I'm not that concerned about it. I'll still try growing them. These are actually something I've grown before. It is an heirloom sweet corn. So I still have some seeds left from it. I did not save any from my previous harvest, so I need to get some more so I can save some. These are always great. I've had them in my garden before. I think I've put pictures of bees and stuff on them in this channel before. It's echinacea, purple coneflower. It's wonderful to have in the garden because it really does bring in those pollinators, and they're such pretty flowers. So I'm excited to have them growing in the garden this year. Now this is another one of those fun experimenty things that I'm going to be doing. This is a sugar beet. Now we aren't just talking about your average beet, which I think a lot of people grow in their garden, but this is actually a sugar beet, the thing that you can use to make sugar other than sugar cane. And so I'm going to try growing it and see if I can actually make some sugar. What do you think? Anyone ever done that before? I hear that it smells horrible when you cook them and try to render the sugar. So we'll see how that part of it is as well. But I'm very excited to try sugar beets. Yeah, it looks like I have multiple mammoth sunflowers. And I've also had large sunflowers from Baker Creek before as well. I'm guessing these aren't... these look different. So I think they're different varieties of mammoth sunflowers. This one says Mammoth Russian. But like just looking at the pictures, they look, the petals are different. That inside part is different. So these might be different varieties, but I'll grow some of them. This is a new watermelon variety for me. It's called Kolb's Gem. Seems to be reviewed very well. I'm excited about it. Yeah, so obviously that'll be as it warms up more before we put it out. But I think this is probably what got me. It says you can get some as large as 130 pounds. I don't know what I would do with a 130-pound watermelon, and the chance that you actually end up harvesting it when it's perfectly ripe when you're going for a 130-pound watermelon, probably not, but it'll be fun anyway. All right, let's see here. This was just some free seed, some Buttercrunch lettuce. I think I'm going to put these out fairly soon because, this is the time of year to do it. So, yeah, I'll just have some lettuce. Now, this is a mustard leaf that purportedly tastes a lot like wasabi. So that's cool. I like wasabi. And so, I've done, grown horseradish root and harvested the leaves. And I'm guessing there will be a similar flavor to a horseradish leaf to the wasabina leaf mustard. But I really don't know. And I'm pretty excited to try it. So we will see. Here's another variety of corn I'm going to grow. It's white corn. I don't have anything much more to say about it than that. I thought it looked cool. So I'm not sure what inspired me to buy this, but I'm excited to grow it nonetheless. So this obvious reasons that I've grown it. I've already started some seeds for this and have small plants that I'm going to need to transplant up fairly soon. This is a giant cabbage. So one of the problems with cabbage, obviously, when you start it in the early part of the year, is that it can get too hot too soon to actually get, your full growth. So the ideal time might end up being a later summer planting that grows into the fall. And so I'll do that as well. But we'll see what we can do with this spring planting too. Now this feels like it doesn't even have. Oh, there are some seeds in there. I've grown this before. Heavy hitter okra. It's an okra that produces more actual okras on the plant than your average okra. You can see these pictures. Mine didn't do quite that well, but they did better than the average okra in producing okra. So, black-eyed Susan. Yeah, I've got some of these already started. So yeah, these would have been ones shared with me by someone. I don't recall who, but either one of the viewers or a seed exchange online. But at any rate, thank you to whomever gave me the black-eyed Susans. I grew some of these last year out of this pack. I'm growing some more that are already started this year. So they're a fun flower. Now, I really like this. It's one of my favorite pumpkins, the Musc de Provence pumpkin. I've talked about it before. They last a long time. You can actually overwinter them. I've had some last even more than a year. So Musc de Provence, winter squash. And then it's always good to have marigolds in your garden. This is marigold mix that I will have some of as well. Now, I've never really done much with these. I've had these seeds for a while. I've thrown them in before, and I think I've failed to ever actually grow these to maturity, not because they're necessarily hard to grow just because I've not cared that much. But it's always been my aspiration to see if I can actually get sesame seeds out of these. So perhaps this year is the year, although you may be noticing I'm going through a lot of different seed varieties. And one of my tips that I don't ever follow myself, but that I'll tell you nonetheless, is if you want to be successful with your garden, the number one thing to do is limit how much stuff you try to grow. Really focus your attention on those things that you know that you will use and that you really enjoy growing. And you will do very well. The more you spread out, the more likely that you have lots of stuff fail. And so I'm not heeding that warning. And my garden may suffer as a result, but that's something to keep in mind. Now these are Scarlet Peony poppies. I've already planted some of these as well. I'm very excited to have some. So here I'm actually going to tell you a little anecdote, which is, as I started gardening, I didn't really care about the flowers or making things pretty at all. But at this point, after I've been gardening for a while now, I'm starting to like it. And so I'm doing more flower varieties. So Scarlet Peony poppy. The dahlia, same story there. So I grew some of these last year, and despite the fact that this is a nice mix, the only ones that I actually had pop up were the white ones that you see there in the upper top and the yellow ones. So I didn't have any of the other colors. So this year, hopefully I'll have enough planted that I happen to get some of those other colors too. I mean, white and yellow flowers are very pretty, but yeah, they're less exciting in a way. And here, the main reason for these poppies, although I'm sure they're pretty as well, is to actually have poppy seeds, so I can use some poppy seeds and things. So we'll see how that goes. And obviously for seed saving as well, there'll be an advantage to having those. So just to explain, these little rattle-looking things are full of seeds. So it apparently, more so than most poppies, is good for growing poppy seed. And stevia. So I'm sure you're all familiar with the artificial sweetener stevia. I say artificial. It's actually natural, but it's not sugar, I should say. The non-sugar sweetener stevia. And it comes from the stevia plant. I've grown these before. They are pretty fickle. They are challenging to grow. They're challenging to germinate. Once you have them germinated, they're a little bit temperamental. You've got to be precise with your watering. And I forget at this moment whether they really like water or really don't like water. But one or the other is true. So I'll have to look it up as I'm growing them. But they're also temperature sensitive. So you need to be already past your cooler weather when you put them outside. But I'm starting those seeds as well. Honey Rock Melon. So this is a cantaloupe melon variety. And so once upon a time, when I was still a kid, I believe, someone gave our family some melon that was delicious that was grown on a farm near them. And I've never known what variety it was, but it was the best cantaloupe I've ever had. So I'm still interested to see if I can find that. If you know of a cantaloupe variety that is just like immaculate, really sweet, tastes delicious, comment below and help me. And if you've grown this honey rock melon, and if it's not that, well, I guess you can tell me that. I'm probably still going to grow it this year. But hopefully this is it. This is like an amazing cantaloupe. But feel free to tell me whichever way it is. All right, this is some Mizuna, which is often in certain lettuce mixes, and it is apparently one of those things that can grow extremely quickly. So I'm hoping that I can get some Mizuna fairly soon. I don't know Mizuna well enough to know anything really about it. I'm certain I probably have had it before in any number of spring mixes or whatever, but we will grow some and see how it goes. The Kakai squash if I am not mistaken. I believe this is the squash from which you can get hulless seeds. Let's look if it says something on the back. Yeah, completely hulless seeds. Superb for roasting. So yeah, if you like, I think they're normally called pepitas, the seed that has no hull on it that you can easily eat, and I mean you can eat regular pumpkin seeds too, but anyhow, this is the variety that grows that. So that is the main thing that I will be growing this for, and we'll see what we get out of it. All right, Aunt Molly's ground cherry. So this is a particularly good variety of ground cherry. I've grown it before. It's very tasty. If you've never had a ground cherry before, I'd recommend growing them. They're fairly easy to grow. They're kind of like tomatoes in how the plant is, though they're a lot smaller. They take up less space, and they're pretty good at like kind of secretly producing. And then you can have them drop on the ground and then self-seed in that way. But this actual fruit is almost a vanilla pineapple-y flavor. I could see how some people might not enjoy it, particularly if like they're thinking they're getting a tomato, because it definitely doesn't taste like your standard tomato. But it's really unique. It's really good. I've even made some jelly out of it before. So it's a fun thing to grow. So I recommend growing it. In fact, I kicked myself. One of my early years growing, I had a whole bunch of these plants, and I cleared them out because I wanted the space for something else. But I should have just kept that. I mean, not that they're perennial. They're like tomatoes in that regard, but they end up self-seeding quite a lot. So I probably could have, if I hadn't planted other stuff there, had more come up. The green Luobo radish, I've grown this before. It's a daikon radish, often actually better for your fall garden. It's a bigger radish, and a lot of people will pickle them, but this is a pie pumpkin. This is going to be more for making stuff out of, and for eating. And this says one of the best tasting pie pumpkins around. So that's what inspired me to do that. So I will be trying to grow this year. And then finally Merlot lettuce. It's another one of the things I'm just probably planting very soon here, to have a colorful variety of lettuces. So there you go. That is the whole group of. So I say it's the newer stuff that I'm growing, but not all of it's newer. I guess for some reason in that bunch I threw in some things that aren't new. But these are things that I am still going to be growing later in this year. There are lots of other varieties I've already started for seeds as well. So this isn't a complete list of everything I grow, and there's always a chance that some of these I don't get to. But these are varieties that I aspire to grow. So hope you enjoyed this video. And please do comment below about some of the things you're excited to grow this year. And of course, if any of these are things you want a video about, please do mention that. So please like this video and subscribe to the channel. And I look forward to growing with you.
And now it is time to fertilize your funny bone with Best Garden Giggles.
Why did the envelope not let its child hang out with the seed packet?
Because of its seedy character.